Well, howdy there, my nostrils. Welcome back to the Nashville Nose. Nice to see you. I'm your host, Dr. Magnifiscent. Again. And I think the mood is just right for another versus battle. Charge! One of my absolute go-to fall fragrances that I will never stop recommending is the great, wise, and mighty Oud Wood by Tom Ford. I love Tom Ford, especially from this era. Man, they just don't make them like this anymore. But that's a topic for another video. I love Oud Wood, though. I always say it's one of those perfect introductory fragrances if you're not too familiar with oud-based scents. It's a great starting point, because oud can sometimes come off real pungent and real nasty to some people. Some people see the word oud and run for the hills, but this is different. It's nice and smooth. One of the greatest oud-dominant designer scent profiles of all time. I just got one problem with it. Can you guess what it is? It's weird. When you smell it, you think it's going to be super strong and super long lasting all the way into the night, but for some reason, it's not. It's not the best performer. And for a dark, deep, rich, oud-based scent profile, it's shockingly weak when it comes to longevity. But don't worry, my nostrils, we haven't gotten into the meat of today's video yet. There's been a substantial buzz around the fragrance community about a certain clone that is supposedly a dead ringer when it comes to the scent, but several have reported turbo performance. What is this clone, you ask? Well, I'll tell you, kind of the point of this whole video. It comes from the London perfume house of Thameen, and this is Carved Oud. Now, I don't know if this is promoted as a direct Oud Wood clone. It might be, but I believe that Thameen is not solely a clone house. I think they do have original scents, but this one really blew up as the stronger, longer lasting, and way better performing Oud Wood. In fact, some people say that this is reminiscent to what this used to be, because many claim when Tom Ford's Oud Wood came out in 2007, it was much more beastly than what it is now, and I believe it. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna test out both of these and let them duke it out. Will Thameen's Carved Oud well outperform the original Mac Daddy, and does it retain the exclusivity of the scent profile and the quality of those Tom Ford top shelf ingredients? Let's cut her open and find out. Really nice presentation too. Look at that box. I love the glossy pattern that's all over it. I'm not really sure what it is. Oh, it's the Thameen logo. Kind of looks like a diagram of something that I remember seeing in health class. It's also an extrait de parfum, as opposed to Oud Wood, which is an eau de parfum. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident in its performance. But we will see. In the meantime, let's check out the bottle. Oh, also love the sliding box. Oh, why do I feel naughty doing this? And oh, that's a pretty bottle. Remove it from its little foam home. A simple bottle design, just a basic cube, but a really gorgeous, like sapphire blue. It's got a textured cap. Oh, but it's magnetic. Oh, I love a magnetic cap. Grab it, grab it, grab it, grab it. Oh, magic of magnets. Yeah, magnetic cap's always a nice touch. And here is the Thameen logo on the top. And interestingly, oh, that is actually really cool. They set up the magnet so the Thameen logo is always facing upright. I actually appreciate that because I'm a little OCD about my display, and I like to have all my caps, if there is a design on there, facing upright. So that'll save me a couple seconds of my life. And we have that same logo on the top of the atomizer. Nice gold metal atomizer and gold writing on the front. So I like the gold and blue accents, except for the, kind of hard to tell with the lighting, but I think the logo on the cap is actually silver. So little inconsistent, but it works. So yeah, there is your gorge-rific presentation. Gonna look nice on my display. But now let's get down to the action. It's battle time. The doctor is now in. We're gonna start with the originator, Oud Wood. Over here, please. Love that scent profile. Now let's test out its challenger, Thameen Carved Oud, right here. The sprayer is really nice. It's got that pressured atomizer, a nice fine mist. Wow, it smells like Oud Wood in the air, that's for sure. All right, let's see how they stack up in the open. Oud Wood, yeah, there it is. Love it. All right, let's check out Carved Oud. Okay, so the first thing I'm noticing, right off the rip, Oud Wood smells like Oud Wood. It's rich and lush and kind of velvety. A little bit sweet, really cozy, just really nice and refined and grown up and gentlemanly. Carved Oud starts out a little bit harsh. It's got a little bit more bite to it, a little less smooth in the very beginning, but I have a feeling that it will morph and evolve and change over time. Yeah, it's a lot richer and a lot more niche smelling than the Tom Ford, which makes sense. This is a niche house. This is a designer house. It definitely smells more dense, and I'm noticing more oil on this hand. Another thing I kind of expected, considering it's an extrait de Parfum. So in the open, they don't smell identical, but it really has that Oud Wood familiarity. All right, while we're letting these settle down, let's compare notes. Tom Ford's Oud Wood has, well, agarwood or oud, of course, I would hope so. Also Brazilian rosewood, sandalwood, cardamom, Szechuan pepper, vanilla, vetiver, tonka bean, and amber. So a couple sweeter notes like vanilla, tonka bean, and sandalwood. Most likely the reason for its overall smoothness. Cardamom and Szechuan pepper providing a little bit of spice. Vetiver is just really gentlemanly. Yeah, I mean, it's a beloved scent profile to many. All right, let's see what we got in Carved Oud. Okay, couple difference. We have cypress, cypriol oil, and pink pepper in the open, along with cardamom, agarwood, of course, sandalwood, vetiver, amber, vanilla, just like Oud Wood. But then we have patchouli, iris, musk, and cedar. So it seems that its base elements are there, but they just added a couple extra interesting nuances. Now that it's settling in a little bit better, it's smelling more like Oud Wood. But yeah, it smells similar, but it is an interesting take. We'll see if these scent profiles start to meld together. So I want to let this one fully settle, fully develop, and fully dry down, compare its full scent evolution to the original scent DNA, and try to get an accurate reading on its performance comparison. So let's get on that. Toodles. All right, time for the thrilling conclusion of our oud battle. And it has an interesting twist. There was a moment while I was going back and forth and testing them periodically where Carved Oud smelled a lot like Oud Wood. But now it's kind of taken its own direction. I think because we are well into the base notes and we're getting the last remaining scent molecules that are still lingering on my skin, it does have a lot of familiarity to Oud Wood, but it is kind of its own thing, but very subtle. And this is only because I'm directly comparing them. I think if you smell this on its own, it's undeniably Oud Wood, but it is a little less smooth than Oud Wood, a little less mass appealing, which is not entirely surprising because, like we mentioned earlier, Tom Ford is a designer brand, a very highbrow designer brand, and Thameen is a London-based niche brand. But I really like it. I really like the ride it's taken me on. And I also really like the fact that I don't feel it redundant to own both. But I have to say, if you really love Oud Wood, but you are really disappointed in the way it performs nowadays, this is a killer alternative. It makes me wonder if this was designed to represent what Oud Wood smelled like when it first came out. I'm sure it was way more beastly than it is today. And maybe it was a little bit more bold and animalic and more niche-y smelling like Carved Oud. I don't know, but man, I think that they knocked it out of the park. On a very similar scent profile, on still smelling extremely top shelf quality. And now, let's talk about performance. This is what I expected and kind of what I hoped. Carved Oud smokes Oud Wood when it comes to longevity. Because even though well into the dry down, it kind of has deviated from the scent profile and is kind of doing its own thing. Guess what this one's doing? Nothing! Oud Wood is a faint skin scent at this point, and Carved Oud is still pushing off the skin. Not nearly as much as it was in the beginning, obviously, but after the several hours of wearing it, it's still hanging on really good. And I feel like I may have found an Oud Wood to wear in the winter, because Oud Wood is great in the fall time, but even in the fall time, it doesn't last long. I'm really excited to test this out in the really cold weather. So here's my final thoughts on Thameen's Carved Oud. Not an exact mirrored pound for pound dead ringer, but really, really close. So close that if you didn't A/B them directly like I'm doing right now, you probably couldn't even tell the difference. It's more niche smelling, a little bit more animalic, more bold and beastly and powerful, more thick and rich and dense, and lasts a hell of a lot longer than Oud Wood. So yeah, Thameen Carved Oud. It's a hit, and you're a hit with me because you subscribed. You did subscribe, right? Right? Good. And if you could also hit that like button and that bell, that would make me a big hit with those algorithm gods. And if you like what I'm doing here, tell people about it. Let's bring in more nostrils. It's super fun over here. Don't forget to drop a comment because I want to hear your thoughts on this or Oud Wood or anything. We can talk about anything and everything fragrance related. I love nerding out with you. Anything goes. But most importantly, y'all come back now, you hear? Stay smelly, my nostrils. Mwah! See you next time. The doctor is out.